Okay, so dear colleagues, hello. Today at our dissertation council, we have the defense of the dissertation work of Mrs. Olga Pavlovna Ibragimova, a development of simple and accurate methods for organic pollutants determination in the air based on solid phase microextraction, submitted for the PhD degree on the educational program 8D05301 Chemistry. So the dissertation work was performed at the Department of Analytical, Colloid Chemistry and Technology of Rare Elements, Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Almaty, Kazakhstan. So the scientific supervisors are Nasiba Hikmatullayevna Baymatova, PhD, Associate Professor of the Department of Analytical, Colloid Chemistry and Technology of Rare Elements, Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Jacek Koziel, PhD, Emeritus Professor of Iowa State University, United States of America. Official reviewers: Woojin Lee, PhD, Professor, School of Engineering and Digital Sciences, Nazarbayev University, Astana, Kazakhstan. And Fabio Augusto, Doctor of Science, Professor, Institute of Chemistry, University of Campinas, Brazil. So as I see, both official reviewers are present. Okay, temporary members of the Dissertation Council: Pelit Levent, PhD, Professor, Department of Analytical Chemistry, Ege University, Izmir, Turkey. Attilio Nakarato, PhD, Assistant Professor, Department of Analytical Chemistry, University of Calabria, Italy. Tomasz Dimersky, PhD, Associate Professor, Department of Analytical Chemistry, Gdańsk University of Technology, Gdańsk, Poland. Emanuela Gianfrido, PhD, Associate Professor, Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry, University of Toledo, Ohio, United States of America. So as I see, all temporary members of the Dissertation Council are present. So we have three permanent members of the council. So we have the quorum and we are ready to start the defense. Please keep your web cameras on during the defense. The defense is recorded and broadcasted on YouTube channel of the university. So now I would like to give the screen to Scientific Secretary, Professor Sagdat Medelbekovna Tajibbayeva, for presenting the documents available in the personal file of the PhD candidate. So please, Professor Tajibbayeva. Microphone.
Sorry. Ibragimova Olga Pavlovna was born in 1994. In 2016, she graduated from Al-Farabi Kazakh National University with degree of a Bachelor of Techniques and Technologies. Then from 2016 till 2018, she studied as a master's student at the Department of Analytical Colloid Chemistry and the Technology of Rare Elements from September 2019 to June 2022, Ibragimova Olga studied in the PhD doctoral program of the Faculty of Chemistry and Chemical Technology of KAZNU. The topic of the dissertation research and the scientific advisors were approved at the meeting of Academic Council of the Faculty of Chemistry and Chemical Technology on 23 October of 2019. In the personal file of Ibragimova Olga, there are copies of bachelor's and master's diplomas, a list and the copies of publications, positive reviews of scientific supervisors, protocol of enlarged meeting, and all other documents in accordance with the regulation of Committee for Quality Assurance in the field of higher education and science of the Ministry of Education and Science of Republic of Kazakhstan. The main research results on the topic of the dissertation are presented in 9 published works, including 4 articles in international Quartile 1, Quartile 3 journals, indexed in Web of Science and the Scopus databases, 1 article published in Scientific Journal recommended by the Committee for Control in Education and Science of the Ministry of Education and Science, and the 2 patents for invention of the Republic of Kazakhstan, 2 abstracts included in international conference materials. On March 1st, 2023, the work of Ibragimova Olga Pavlovna was discussed at an enlarged meeting of the Department of Analytical Colloid Chemistry and Technology of Rare Elements of the KAZNU. The meeting was attended by 34 people. First reviewer, Uralbekov Bulat Muratovich, candidate of Chemical Sciences, professor of the Department of General and Inorganic Chemistry of KAZNU, in his positive review indicated 7 comments. Second reviewer, Abiliev Madi Baltabayevich, PhD, senior lecturer of the Department of Analytical Colloid Chemistry and Technology of Rare Elements of the Al-Farabi KAZNU, also gave a positive review, including 5 comments. All the asked questions and comments of reviewers received answers. Therefore, the scientific seminar unanimously recommended the work for defense. Extract from protocol number 10, dated March 1 of 2023, was approved by the Vice Rector for Social Development, Aidosov Nurjan Sarsenbekovich. The date of defense official reviewers and temporary members of the dissertation council were appointed in July 1 of 2023, or protocol number 18 at the meeting of the dissertation council. Thank you for extension.
Okay, thank you very much. Dear colleagues, do you have any questions to the scientific secretary or PhD candidate? Okay, thank you. So if there are no questions, then the screen is given to the PhD candidate to present the dissertation. So you have 20 minutes for the presentation. So you can share the screen.
Hello to everybody, just a moment. Okay.
Okay.
Hello, I can start?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Hello to everybody, my name is Ibragimova Olga. My PhD thesis related to the development of simple and accurate method for organic pollutants determination in the air based on solid phase microextraction. The air pollution is a key problem in the modern society. Its health affect the whole world and requires global solution. The Almaty is one of the polluted city in Kazakhstan with unacceptable carcinogenic risk. The health damage from air pollution in Kazakhstan amounts to $12 billion. The official government companies who is responsible for air monitoring in Kazakhstan covered only 2 volatile organic compounds such as formaldehyde and phenol. There are no any data about hazardous VOC such as benzene, which is the carcinogen of the first group. The air is one of the most complex environmental objects for analysis. There are many drawbacks related to the sampling, sample preparation, and transportation of air samples. Conventional methods for determination of VOC based on the purging of air through the sorbent tubes or sampling in special canister or Tedlar bags. Such methods are very complex, labor and time consuming, and require additional equipment for thermal desorption, toxic solvent for chemical desorption, and preliminary cleanup with high purity gases before sampling. Such drawbacks limit the application of conventional method for air monitoring in developing countries such as Kazakhstan. The good alternative for conventional method is solid phase microextraction, which combines sampling and sample preparation in one step and meets the requirement of green analytical chemistry. SPME can be used for determination of volatile organic compounds concentration in the ambient air. Despite the fact that SPME is the simplest and low-cost method, there are some limitations of the current methods based on SPME, such as losses during transportation of samples, the low accuracy and precision of the methods. Therefore, my PhD thesis was aimed at development of simple and accurate method based on SPME, which can improve the current methods for determination single and time-weighted average concentration of organic pollutants. The PhD thesis was divided by the several parts. The first and second parts was aimed at development of method for determination single and TWA concentration of VOC respectively, and the third part was based on the approbation of the developed methods. The SPME can be used in the two modes. In the exposed mode for determination the single concentration by exposed micropolymeric coating at short sampling time. The single concentration don't consider the variation of concentration during the day and determine VOC concentration in real time. And the second mode is then the fiber coating located inside protective needle. In such mode, the SPME can be used for determination TWA concentration. The diffusion of analyte occurs through the layer, which is formed between the tip of the protective needle and the tip of the fiber coating. Therefore, the task of the study were following: to develop a low-cost and accurate method for the simultaneous determination of single concentration of more than 20 VOCs in ambient air, to apply the developed method for assessment seasonal and special variation of VOC in the air of Almaty, to assess the effect of COVID-19 restriction measures on air quality in Almaty, and to develop a model for SPME for the determination of TWA concentration using finite element analysis software, and prove that this model can be used instead of experimental optimization. The main provision to be defended were following. The first one is that PDMS-DVB SPME fiber provides a better combination of detection limit, accuracy, and precision compared to other commercially available fibers. The developed method based on SPME with PDMS-DVB coating provides spiral recoveries in the range from 90 to 105% for all studied analytes. The seasonal variation of 9 out of 19 studied VOC was significant, with maximum concentration on winter sampling days, and the special distribution showed dependence of the total volatile organic compounds concentration on the sampling site's elevation and distance from the CHPs. The developed method with sampling with alternative geometry provides greater recoveries of the determination of TWA concentration for the most of analytes in comparison with the exposed SPME fiber inside GC line. The first part was related to the developed method for low-cost quantification of multiple volatile organic compounds based on the sampling into 20 milliliter vials with subsequent analysis by SPME GCMS. During these studies, the fiber coating type, extraction, desorption, and storage time were investigated. The selection of the optimal fiber was based on the estimation how many analytes can be determined at target LODs and RSDs. Overall, DVB, CAR PDMS, and PDMS DVB fiber show the greatest number of analytes at target LODs. However, the PDMS DVB fiber provides lower LODs for free polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which are more toxic than all studied analytes. And in addition, PDMS DVB fiber provides lower RSDs. Therefore, the PDMS DVB was chosen as optimal. The equilibrium between almost all studied analytes in the air and fiber coating were achieved after 10 minutes of sampling, and first, the increase in extraction time had no significant effect on analytes responses. And desorption time for 1 minute was chosen as optimal due to increases of desorption time above 1 minute had no significant effect of analytes responses. During storage and transportation, concentration of volatile organic compounds can decrease due to their decomposition, possible absorption on internal wall of vials or septum, and losses via leaks. Therefore, the storage time was studied. According to the obtained results, it's recommended to analyze samples during the first 8 hours after sampling for achieving the greatest accuracy of the method. The developed method shows spy recoveries of 21 out of 25 VOC between 19 and 100 at 5%. The previously developed methods were successfully applied for air monitoring of BTEX since 2015. The assessment of effect of COVID-19 lockdowns on the air quality in Almaty in 2020 were carried out using the concentration of inorganic pollutants and benzene, toluene, ethylbenzene, and orthoxylene. I will discuss the BTEX, the changes of BTEX concentration. Even though traffic-free conditions were during the lockdown, the air quality was no improvement. There was no improvement of concentration of benzene and toluene. The higher concentration of benzene and toluene during 2020 sampling days can be related to the high emission from coal combustion, from power plants and households, and possible garbage burning during the sampling. The declining level of ethylbenzene and orthoxylene can be related to the traffic-free condition during lockdown. In addition, the developed method was applied to evaluation of seasonal and special variation of volatile organic compounds in ambient air in Almaty in 2020. The 9 out of 19 VOCs has significant seasonal variation with maximum concentration on winter sampling days. All sampling seasons had similar spatial profile of total volatile organic compounds. And during the COVID-19 lockdown, there was no traffic activities in the cities. The concentration, the total volatile organic compounds concentration were high. And we can see that only the end of heating season can lead to the declining of total VOCs concentration that can be caused by the reducing of emissions by coal combustion, by power plants and households. The second part was related to the development of method for determination of TWA concentration of organic pollutants. It can be done by 3 approaches. The two average of single measurements, but such approach required a large number of samples and analysis, which are time and lab consuming. The active sampling, which are based on the purging of air via suitable absorber or via suitable samplers, such as canisters and calibrated bulbs, etc. And passive sampling, which based on the diffusion of analytes through the barrier to absorptive media. And as it was mentioned, the SPME can be used in the passive sampling method. Even so, the determination of TWA concentration by SPME is the simplest method. There are some limitations, such as differences between the theoretical masses and experimental data, which can be caused by the extraction of analyte on the metallic surface of protecting needle. The possible desorption of analytes from the fiber coat during extraction, and then variability associated with the SPME fibers. Another limitation that limit the wide application of SPME for TWA concentration determination is time-consuming experimental optimization and calibration process. To improve some of this limitation, it was proposed to use finite element analysis software, such as CAMSOL Multiphysics. CAMSOL helped to save the time and cost for experiments, give lower uncertainty and possibility to deeply understand the extraction process. The fibers, according to the Fick's law, the fibers should act as a zero-sink sorbents. However, according to the CAMSOL simulation, none of the studied commercially available fibers behave as a zero sinks, and this effect increased with the increasing of sampling time. The effect of sampling time on recoveries of analytes were studied, and according to the obtained results, the recoveries of studied analytes were between 65 and 82%, and the highest recovery was obtained for the toluene, which has a lowest diffusion coefficient and higher distribution constant. The diffusion path length is one of the parameters which can easily be adjusted by the users for achieving the optimal condition. The increasing of diffusion path length decreases sampling rates, it slows down the saturation and lead to increasing in the analytes recovery. The two conditions were studied. The first two cases were studied. The first case is when the concentration of analyte were constant during the all sampling time, but such condition is impossible in real air sampling. And the second case, then the concentration in the first half of sampling were higher than in the second half of the sampling were studied. Such condition lead to decreasing of the all analytes recovery. It can be caused by the decreasing of concentration near the tip of protecting needle, which can lead which decrease the flux of analyte and can lead to reverse direction of flux of analytes through the fiber tip, from the fiber coating. Also, the Tursunbayeva et al. Proposed to use the GC liner, the SPME GC liner, for improving some of limitations for TWA SPME determination, such as absorption of analytes onto metallic surface. According to COMSOL simulation, such modification did not lead to improvement of analyte recovery due to the 2.9 higher analyte flux from sample air to the coating. To decrease the flux of analyte, it was proposed to reduce the internal diameter in the GC liner in the sampling zone to the expected location of fiber coating. Such modification helped to improve the recovery of all analytes. To prove the COMSOL model, the proposed modified sampler with alternative geometry was developed and patent for invention was observed. To generate gas with known concentration of VOC and to simulate the air sampling, the following system was developed. It's based on the injection of VOC solution by syringe pump and syringe into the mixing pot with following equilibration of gas in 5 meters PTFE tubing in the nitrogen flow. The stability of such gas generation was studied, and according to the results, the developed system provide the stable concentration of VOC during 48 hours. The selection of the optimal SPME fibers that will be exposed in the modified sampler was based on the assessment of recoveries of masses of analytes. According to the obtained results, two most appropriate fibers were observed, is CAR-PDMS and DVB CAR-PDMS fiber with 2 centimeter coatings. They provide the greatest recovery for greatest number of analytes. However, the CAR-PDMS fiber provides the lowest RSD for all studied analytes. Therefore, it was chosen as optimal. In addition, the MOV 199 fiber coating, which was synthesized in our laboratory, was chosen for the further experiment as alternative coating for commercially available fibers. The modified sampler was compared with the GC liner proposed by Tursunbayeva et al. And the modified sampler with CAR-PDMS showed better recoveries than the GC liner for most of analytes, while the MOV 199 fiber coating in combination with modified sampler showed better recoveries for all studied analytes. The investigation of the diffusion path length demonstrated that the 67 millimeter of diffusion path provide the highest recovery for the most of tested analytes. The further increase in this diffusion path had decreased the analytes recovery. The developed sampler developed method was compared with the sorbent tube-based method, which was chosen as a reference method. The simultaneous air sampling was carried out by SPME fibers and sorbent tubes located inside the box, which protect them from the meteorological condition. And in addition, the developed thermostated system was used for sampling, for compared dynamic and static mode of air sampling by SPME. The results show that the determination of TWA concentration of VOC by SPME and modified sampler show higher results than the sorbent tubes. It can be caused maybe by the not full desorption of analyzed through the sorbent tubes. However, the SPME with modified sampler and developed thermostated system show reasonable match with concentration obtained by the sorbent tubes and can be recommended for the daily average for the determination of daily average concentration of VOCs. The following conclusion, based on the obtained results, the following conclusion were made that the SPME PDMS fiber, the developed method based on the SPME with PDMS DVB fiber show the low LOD and RSD for single concentration of 25 VOCs. The developed method provides spike recovery of 90 to 105%. The developed method for simultaneous determination of single concentration of VOC was successfully applied for assessment of effect of COVID-19 lockdown measures on the air quality of Almaty and to determine the seasonal and special variation of the VOC in the air of Almaty in 2020. The simulation of TW air sampling by retracted SPME fiber using the capsule multiphysics decrease the time and cost of experiments and can be used for preliminary optimization and development of method for determination of TWA concentration. The proposed sampler with an alternative geometry allows to increase the accuracy of the determination of TWA concentration of VOC in comparison with the SPME GC line. The results of this research work were published in 9 scientific papers, including 4 papers in International Peer-Reviewed Journal, the 1 paper in the journal recommended by Committee for Control Education and Science, 2 patents for invention in Kazakhstan, and 2 abstracts on international congress and conference. This research work was done with a framework of projects funded by the Science Committee of the Ministry of Education and Science. Also, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my supervisors, Associate Professor Nasiba Baymatova and Professor Jacek Kozil, for their support and sharing invaluable advice during my PhD study. Also, I would like to thank Professor Bulat Kinyasa for knowledge and project management within the framework of which part of my PhD thesis was completed. I would like to express my gratitude to Professor Duran Karakash, Professor Serpil Nisor Karakash, Dr. Hatice Karadeniz, and Professor Firhat Karatya for organization and support during my research internship. I would like to express my special thanks to my friends and colleagues from Ecology of Biosphere Laboratory for their support and assistance during my PhD research. In addition, I would like to extend gratitude to my family, especially to my husband for the moral support throughout my PhD study and thesis writing. Thank you for your attention. If you have any kind of question, I will be glad to answer on it.
Okay, thank you. So, dear colleagues, do you have any questions? So, if you have a question, you can raise your hand using Zoom or just using the your hand, because I see you via the webcam, or just tell or just ask. Okay, so Professor Pilit, please.
I would like to thank, first of all, I would like to thank this nice presentation. And also I'm so happy to meet you together with this committee. I would like to ask you a question. We have some problem during the SPM analysis, especially its background impurities. For example, in our laboratory, because we are preparing the standard solution in our laboratory, as a result, the VOC is operating in all of the laboratory. Do you have any experience or experiment on the blank experiment in your study with the SPME? When I mentioned about blank experiment, not only exposing to fiber to GC inlet, I mentioned about headspace vial in your laboratory, and then injection of the fiber to gas chromatographic system.
Thank you for your question. So during the development of method for determination of single concentration, which was based on the sampling in 20 milliliter headspace vials, for calibration, we start to use the standard addition method, which help us to avoid the background of VOC in our laboratory. So we had the same problem, because we also prepared the solution in the same lab where our GCMS is located. And in addition, always then we carry out the calibration. We analyze the blank that we sample in our laboratory. So the method developed by our laboratory is based on the shaking of the 20 milliliter vials. So we sample the blank and then add the concentration, add the solution of VOC in the blank. So we start to use the standard addition method for calibration process, and it helped to exclude the effect of the VOC background.
But you cannot eliminate when you use a standard addition method to correction of your result. This is very important. You should subtract the concentration of analyte in your laboratory before analysis. This is very important point. Why I said this one, at the end of your chapter, you show the recovery of the sorbent tube results is very low when you compare to your results. This is maybe related for the impurity, not impurity, lack of the desorption of analyte or absorption of the VOC into your fiber, and this can be observed such kind of problem. But your study is really a good study. I would like to congratulate you, because this is very nice doctoral thesis. I like this one very much when you read it. I have also some question or how can I say, some suggestion with a list. I will send you this one. If you agree with this one, you can use this suggestion. I have no more question. I would like to thank.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Professor Burkitbayev. Please.
So it's nice that simple methods has been developed in our university at analytical laboratory. And my question deals with accuracy of that method. Usually for analytical methods, very important to check using the reference material. And another way is to interlaboratory competitive measurements using on the base of known methods of analysis. Did you do such kind of measurements reference material? And another one, interlaboratory measurements. For example, taking just one or two pollutants, because in air, a lot of many organic pollutants, it is very often very difficult to classify it.
Thank you for your question. So we didn't do the interlaboratory comparison due to the absence of the same laboratory in our country. So I think that we are almost the single laboratory which do the analysis of air by the solid phase microextraction. Unfortunately, we didn't use the reference materials due to the some reasons. For reference materials, we should use the gas with known concentration of VOC. Such gases are not produced in our country. And to purchase these gases take a very long time. And we have the problem with purchasing because it's very expensive than if we want to buy it, because the price of the gas with known VOC concentration double or triple then it comes to our country. And also the transportation of such gases are very hard, exact in our country. I don't know how it's going on in another country. So that's why we can't use the reference materials. However, now we try to certificate our methods for determination of TWA concentration for several analytes, as you say. And I hope that we can do it in our country, and the official government companies who is responsible for the air monitoring, they can use this method for assessment on daily average concentration of VOC, which is help to estimate total intake of VOC concentration, estimate the health effect of VOC in our country, and maybe this method will be more simple than conventional methods.
Mm-hmm. And also one question. As a resident of Almaty city, I very much want to know what is the percentage of air pollutions deal with the traffic in Almaty?
So we have a huge argue between our government and people in Almaty who the main contributor of air pollutants, of air pollution in our city. The government say that the main contributor is either traffic, a lot of numbers of vehicles and cars, but our studies show that in the heating season, the main contributor is coal combustion by combined heat and power plants, households, etc.
But what about the traffic? Usually in the literature, I know that traffic it's give 70 till 70% of air pollution. What about your investigation? Tell us.
Yeah, nowadays we try to determine more exact how many percent to air pollution give the traffic condition, the coal combustion, and several sources. But in my study, we just determine who have higher contribution. We cannot say how many percent give such or give this or another sources. We just can say who give the higher contribution.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Okay, Dr. John Friedel.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Olga, good job, and congratulations for your thesis and your work. Thesis very nicely written. I have a question about the recoveries that you report. I believe it was in chapter 6, that maybe could be linked to the previous question about background of VOC in your lab. How do you explain all these recovery values above 100% for your analytes?
So the different recoveries can be obtained due to maybe leaks. And then we installed our modified sampler with SPME fibers, and also maybe the extraction process go not from the sample site, but also go from the site where the SPME fiber is located. But this is just our suggestion, and now we try to improve the situation and try to improve all possible leaks. What we can say about the background, then we determine the recoveries. We use high purity nitrogen for our developed system. So we didn't use the air of our laboratory.
Okay. And another question that I have, I may have missed it in the thesis, but you know the type of particles embedded in PDMS DVB and carbox and PDMS fibers, it's different. So these affect the desorption conditions for these two fibers. Have you optimized the desorption independently for DVB and carboxen?
For the determination of single concentration, unfortunately, no. We didn't do the separate optimization of desorption time.
So how did you verify presence of carryover, especially for carboxen fibers?
So we use the low extraction time, and we suggest that the analyze did not go deeply inside the CAR-PDMS coating. That's why we suggest that the all analyze desort during desorption in GC inlet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Other questions, please? Okay, Dr. Nakarato, do you have questions? We don't hear you. I see that you are speaking, but we don't hear you. So microphone, some problem.
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's better, but a little bit louder could be nice.
Okay. Try to speak louder.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for the invitation, and congratulations to Olga for her work. And just a curiosity, I was wondering if you had the chance to test the diffusive samplers that some years ago was sold from Superco for this kind of analysis. Actually, it's not so common to use this. Was not so common to use this sampler, but was available till some months ago, maybe, or some years ago. So, since this work was carried out some years ago, I was thinking if you had just the chance to compare your results with those that can be obtainable, that could be obtainable with this device.
Okay, thank you for the question, but a little bit confused about what sampler did you talk about? The different diffusion sampler that based on the ischemia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
this was a curiosity, because these diffusive samplers was not so common to use. I meant it for just for case, but I saw that it was sold till some months ago from Superco. Now it is discontinued, actually, but I was thinking why, or if you had the chance to test these samplers, but maybe this is not so in use also by you. That's weird. Just this.
Frankly speaking, I can't say about what sampler do you talk. and we didn't see the sampler, diffusion sampler based on SPME in the SUPELCO. Also, I want to say that this work was done, I think that more than half years ago, and I have the pre-defense half years ago. Oh, I'm sorry, 6 months ago. It's half years ago. And now we have a defense, and this 6 months I didn't do anything because I'm on maternity leave. That's why maybe I didn't see the new sampler for SPME.
No, actually, it's not a new samplers, it's an old samplers. That's why I asked. Because now it is discontinued by SUPELCO, but was a diffusive samplers for fiber older. And it's supposed to be used for the analysis of BOC with time-weighted average concentration. But in reality, I found very few application of these samplers. So maybe it didn't work so well, or it was not so common to use. So just for this, I asked if you had the chance to test it. Just this, but it's not surprising to me, your question, because this device was not so common. I found it just by chance, looking in the Merck site. So just this.
So
Okay.
thank you. I will try to find it, and if we have a chance, we will order it and try to test within the framework of our project.
Yeah. I have the link to the older Merck Sigma Aldrich actually websites. So maybe this could help you in the following stages of your project, of your study.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Okay, Professor Lee.
Maybe I think as a final, I don't know if it'll be final or not, but anyway, I'm the environmental science chemist. I was analytical and organic chemist when I was doctoral student, but now I'm much more like environmental application side. So I'd like to ask you about this SPME, quite wonderful. When all days we are mostly using Suxlet every day and night in the organic chemistry lab. So what I can find is mostly all of the chemicals from the atmosphere, VOCs, and those are quite useful. Those are quite effective for this SPME methodology. What if semi-volatile or non-volatile compounds, for example, high ring, 6 or 7 rings of PAHs or some PCBs or PCDDs or PPOA or PPOs nowadays. So such kind of non-volatile or semi-volatile chemicals are useful for, the volatility definitely, partitioning coefficient is definitely very low. In that case, this SPME could work. It is not actually focusing on your work, but it is just from the curiosity.
Thank you for your question. So the SPME, commercially available SPME, had a wide range of the sorbents of the fiber coating that used for the analysis of different environmental objects, not only air, the soil, water, etc. And there is many works that related to the determination of PCBs, pesticides, etc. So it depends on the fiber coating that scientists should use. And then the researcher determine the environmental object and analyze which he want to determine. He select the optimal fiber coating. In addition, nowadays there are a large number of works that related to development of new coating for SPME which maybe will be worked with non-semi-volatile organic compounds.
Okay. If the concentration is awfully low, in that case, it would work. Well, definitely we could actually sample more, and then we can actually, increase the concentration though. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions, please? So, okay, Dr. Dimersky, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have a question. If the questions should be, of course, scientific one, but can be one general question. Like, I would like to ask why you have interested with SPME topic in general. It is a first question. Not scientific one, but still.
Okay, I can answer. Thank you for the question. I started to work with SPME, then I was at the second year of bachelor, and I came to the laboratory of ecology of biosphere, and there my supervisor Nasiba Baymatova worked with the air and using SPME. But first of all, the topic of air pollution is really close to me because I live in Almaty and I want to improve the situation. And I hope that in the near future we can do it. And SPME in our realities, the SPME is the simplest and low-cost method for determination of volatile organic compounds in the air. Why we choose the volatile organic compounds? Because there are no any data about VOC, not only in Almaty, in Kazakhstan. And we hope that our development that we will certify it in the near future, our government can take it and use in the another cities, because the air pollution is not problem only for our city, for Almaty. It's a problem in Kazakhstan, in all Kazakhstan, especially in industrial cities.
Thank you. I was just curious. And other question, did you control the use of the SPME fibers during the research? So that the use, how much about their stability and during the time?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your question. The first of all, for controlling these parameters, we did always before starting experiment, optimization or sampling, we did the calibration, which help us to understand the changes of or maybe damage of fibers and during the time. And also we can see, for example, in case of carpe DMS fiber, we can see it physically. Is there any damage on the fiber coating or no? And frankly speaking, during my whole study, a lot of fibers were broken, a lot of fibers were damaged. So we must control it, and yeah, sure, we did it.
Mm-hmm. You did the research with different types of the fibers. You select 25 of analytes, and in general, which, if you could suggest, which fiber is characterized by the best repeatability?
For determination of single concentration of VOC, the PDMS DVB fiber coating, I suggest that this coating show the better repeatability of VOC determination.
would be this concluded to another application or not?
Another application, you mean different environmental objects? Or?
Different analytes.
I think that each analyze should be studied again. So this method can be used only for this analyze.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Other questions? Okay, so I have just one question. Could you please show the slide with sorbent tubes? One of the last. Okay. So what do you think, what method is most accurate, more accurate, let's say? The sorbent tube or your method based on SPIMI?
The more accurate, we took the sorbent tube method as reference method. So we suggest that that we obtain the real concentration by the sorbent tubes, and we compared the concentration determined by the developed method with the sorbent tubes. So I suggest that the concentration obtained by the sorbent tubes are more accurate.
Okay, but did you check the accuracy of your, let's say, instrument of your system for sorbent tubes? I understand that it's difficult to check, but did you try at least to estimate somehow, or it's difficult?
I think that it's very difficult. Actually, we didn't try to do it, but we optimize the method for analysis of sorbent tubes we try to provide the full desorption of analytes from the sorbent tubes. We optimize the program of desorption, the program of analysis, and also we did the calibration during or before sampling of TWA concentration of wastes.
Okay, and the last question is that static or dynamic mode was better?
In this case, the dynamic mode in developed thermostated system showed the better results.
Yeah, but not for all, but for some.
Yes, sure, not for all analytes. So nowadays we try to improve our static mode because it's more simple for future using for air monitoring, and we try to deeply understand the sampling process and optimize different parameters during the sampling.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Okay, any other questions, dear colleagues? Okay, if not, then we can go ahead. And the screen is given to scientific advisors. The local scientific advisor, Dr. Nasiba Baymatova, please. The screen is yours.
Thank you, Professor Kenesov, and scientific committee reviewers, Olga, for your presentation. So quickly, maybe some missed parts which Olga couldn't physically cover in under the 20 minutes. So air issues in not only in Almaty, in all Central Asian countries who's facing this kind of problem. Something like which maybe you're familiar was in Beijing more than 10 years ago. So the problem that there is no data, the organizations who is responsible for monitoring. So let's just say they're unable to buy their expensive monitoring station which can like provide us with data what's going on with air. So and there is no any data of benzene, and our lab was the first who put Almaty in their range of polluted cities, and there even with population more than 2 million people, the air quality by benzene, which is a cancerogenic or the first group of cancerogenic compound, we most likely closer to cities in China like Changzhou and New Delhi, and we should consider their population of people which are 10,000 times and more higher than them. Also, Olga missed me in presentation that we applied our development method simultaneously in 3 different cities. One is small in Kazakhstan, where its population is smaller, 150,000 people, and in Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. It was part of your master thesis, and it was shown that the concentration of VTEX it's higher in our place than in Ho Chi Minh, where the population is 8 million people. So the novelty and the issue is very high, and that's why we are just like focused all Olga's PhD thesis on developing simple and accurate method. I think we mostly focused on the simple part, which government can use then for monitoring. We did try several times to contact with government organization to use our developed methods, but the problem again, they are not so much equipped with additional parts, and maybe this is not the most problem. They don't want to do that because it will be show the real picture of how bad the air quality in our country. Actually, not only in our country, in all Central Asian countries. We recently published a paper where we showed that. And why it's not putting on the map like urgent, because there is no data. And regarding one of the things which I want to about the topic of Olga's PhD thesis, what the sources, main sources, because we also have a lot of arguments between government people and scientists for determination the sources of each of compound. It should be conducted continuously monitoring where we don't have a proper monitoring station, or it should be conduct source apportionment studies, which we are doing now in our lab, and I hope in future we can share and show the in which season and who was the contributor of air. Actually, my PhD studies was starting from their hypothesis and their the government statement. The main contributor is transportation, but actually we found it like it's not. It's dependent on heating season. We're still using the low quality coal combustion for obtaining heat and electricity. So another method, it's for determination who is their main contributor. It's inventory studies, but again, here we're facing with statistical data of fuel, and again, statistical part, it's not accurate in our country, unfortunately. Another thing about the alternative for the SPME fibers for TWA, I guess this was mentioned about the needle traps. We're also planning to use it in our lab. We know that they exist. We collaborating with Professor Pavlishin, who is a developer of SPME fiber. I just came back from his lab, and in our future projects, we are planning to adjust our sampler to needle traps, which are more easier to apply for I don't mean for chemists and analytical chemists, but for government who can easily use it. And I think my speech is too long. I should shift to Olga. Olga, she's starting to work in our lab from bachelor, so she's most experienced scientist in our group, and her background and knowledge in air pollution or our sample preparation techniques is very high. So I could firmly say she's one of the leading scientists in our group, in our laboratory. She could organize all experiments by herself, and writing is a papers, several papers she did. She's a first author, which proved there that she's deserves a PhD degree. So what else was missing? I think the main problem is that we as a scientists trying to cover the huge gap which we have in our country to obtain the data to show that the picture is very bad and it should be solved, because the government there 4 years they are not doing none of the improvements. And another thing, the last thing which I want to add, that Olga, it's one of the experts in air quality, because in Kazakhstan, we few people who is working in this field, and even the courses on air quality studied just in few universities in whole Kazakhstan. That's why I totally support Olga's, and she did a lot of work, especially struggling with calibration with TWA concentrations. And it was during a night work and day work. And I think she is like most deserved to have a PhD degree. Thank you. If you have any kind of question, please feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions to Dr. Baymatova? Could you please comment you mentioned that Olga was first author in a couple of several articles.
Yes, this is not.
Could you please comment on writing skills
Okay.
in publications?
Writing skills, Olga's writing skills is very high. So the paper which we wrote, where she's acted the first author, she was controlling and drafting and writing all the parts. So I am, as a supervisor, just was leading and reviewing, giving a direction, maybe a plan how we want to present the obtained results. So Olga easily can write and speak in English and in scientific English. So I hadn't any kind of I hadn't faced any kind of issues with your scientific English writing or speaking.
Okay, thank you very much. So if there are no questions, then I don't see Professor Koziel, but we have his review. Yeah, and Professor Tajibayeva can read this review to us. Okay, please.
Review letter of Professor Jacek Koziel. The quality of submitted thesis is excellent. This PhD thesis aimed at the development of green and simple to use analytical methods for the determination of the graph type and the time-weighted average concentration of volatile organic compounds in air using solid phase microextraction. The developed methods were used for determination of VOX in ambient air. The research is novel and significant. The results were published in Web of Science indexed journals, and then supervisor pointed a list of 4 the most important articles. I miss this list. Olga's PhD thesis is a compilation of several chapters that are logically separated. Olga's publication record is similar to average compared with extractions for a typical PhD student in chemistry at our university, where 3 peer-reviewed publications are a norm, but students can defend thesis without all papers published. Olga has published 2 papers as first author and made major contribution to 2 peer-reviewed papers focused on methods used for ambient air quality research and modeling of air sampling using TVA SPME. Olga is an excellent chemist and is very well prepared to defend her thesis and launch a new chapter in her scientific career. In summary, I am very supportive and pleased with Olga's progress towards earning PhD degree. Dr. Jacek Kazil, Professor Emeritus, Department of Agricultural and Bee-System Engineering of Iowa University. And here you can see a signature of Professor.
Okay, thank you. So I was showing the review on the screen. Yeah, so. Okay, it's a pity that Professor Kozil could not join us, but it's too early, I think, for him. Okay, are there any questions to Scientific Secretary? Okay, if there are no questions, then we can go ahead, and the screen is given to the first official reviewer, Professor Woojin Lee. So if you do not wish, there is no need to read the whole review. Yeah, but because we will show it on the screen. Yeah, just your opinion is most important for us. So you have time for speech.
Okay. So I think Nasiba already put some tons of eulogies here. Although I'm fully agree with what she said. Yeah, well, as the based on the review form, I think this is quite interesting and wonderful and very applied. Even it has quite high impact power for other disciplines, especially for the environmental sciences. So it is very important, and it has principles of independence and also the novelty. All of those are actually have been already proved by her and her advisors' publications at the significant international research journal. And the main findings are most valid, and also all of the hypotheses proposed by her have been verified using well-designed experimental tests. And also the principal reliability, all of those fully met with evaluators, reviewers standard. And finally, there may be a little bit of the some articles which international can have in certain cases, but I don't think that is kind of major concern. So based on all of those evaluation and based on the results, I just want to award the degree of PhD degree without any further disagreement. Yeah, this is it.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have comments to respond? Because in the review I didn't see it, but are there any comments, Professor Lee? Are there any comments that should be responded by Olga?
No. Well, I think as although I am GCMS, expert quite old days ago, most of the things actually. Well, I could send her some points for the typos or some minor errors actually, or some grammatical errors, but I don't think this is really essential though. Well, I could send it to her for completing the masterpiece of her work.
Okay, thank you very much. Dear colleagues, do you have any question to Professor Lee? Okay, if there are no questions, then the screen is given to the second official reviewer, Professor Fabio Augusto.
Do you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the invitation to be here. It was a pleasure to read the thesis, Olga's thesis, and I found it extremely well written, extremely well composed. I found also the work is highly interesting to me. TWA sampling, SPME TWA is not, as I pointed in my review, is not exactly a novel approach, but it has been kind of forgotten. And it was very nice to see that people are reviewing, are going back to this hidden treasures, I would say, and starting to review them, to revisit them. And I appreciate also very much the use of theoretical modeling. It's a kind of full covers all the full spectra I would expect in a thesis, in a thesis that developed new knowledge. You go from theory to practice. There are some points I had doubts and had some questions, but most of them were answered from my previous colleagues' questioning. And I would like to ask you, Olga, that your background is not as chemist, am I right? You're a mathematician, am I right?
No, we're chemists.
Oh, I'm chemist. I have a bachelor.
You're a chemist.
Yeah.
In chemistry. Oh, yeah. Because I did some Google. Oh, you have there's other Olga Ibragimova that has a major in mathematics. But whoa, this is amazing. Someone that has a major in mathematics is going to go after SPME. Anyway, I found the thesis very well written, very well composed. I had some doubts. For example, when you did your monitoring, the air monitoring of Almaty, you paid lots of attention to the temperature, but mostly the aspect of the variation of concentrations of pollutants associated to temperature. Did you consider also that the analyte uptake by the TWA sampler could be affected by the temperature? Because diffusion, it depends on the diffusion rate. And if you have same concentrations, but different average temperatures during the day, you can have different uptakes, and then you have different analyte mass scattered by the fiber. Do you consider that, or you think that this dependence on variation of temperature on the analyte uptake is not relevant? I don't remember to see any consideration regarding this in your work.
Thank you for your comment. Then we do the investigation of recoveries of our developed system. We use the recalculation of theoretical masses that we should obtain by the Fick's law using some formula which considers the changes in the temperature and pressure during our sampling time. But of course, we take the mean temperature during the all sampling time, and mean pressure during the all sampling time and recalculate the theoretical value.
Okay. Well, that's as much as I can say. As you see my report, some individual points are not exactly new because TWA is not exactly a new technique, but the overall the overall of your work is innovative. That's what I see that reports. Therefore, I guess your PhD title is more than worth to be awarded. And you have my compliments, your advisors, and also, and finally, again, thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Augusto. Okay, dear colleagues, do you have any questions to Professor Augusto? Okay, if there are no questions, then we can go ahead and we can start a discussion. So who wants to speak? Please comment on the correspondence of the dissertation to the principles of independence, internal unity, scientific novelty, reliability, and practical value. If you see some errors in the dissertation, you can also mention that during your speech. Okay. So again, please raise your hand, and I will give you a word. Okay, Professor Buketbayev, please.
No, first of all, I would like to congratulate Olga and the laboratory staff with that method of analysis, because everywhere in every country we need to use simple methods for determining the quality of our air. And is that good that that kind of methods have been developed in Al-Farabi University? In his presentation, Olga mentioned about the needs of standardizations of that method. And it seems to me that before standardization, she needed to make a lot of experience for making interlaboratory comparison measurements, compare your new methods with another which is known in the world. And also will be nice to use some experiments with referent materials, because it's very important step for standardizations and more wider use of your developed method. So I would like success to Olga, and I am sure that every such experiments will be done well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, who else wants to speak? We are particularly interested in the opinions of the temporary members of the dissertation council, because you were invited as experts in this field, and your opinion is very important. Okay, Dr. Gianfrido, please.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, I do believe the quality and the scientific value of the thesis is really high. It's a very clear and well-written thesis, and it proposes very applicable solution for air quality monitoring. I also particularly appreciate the mathematical modeling with COMSOL, especially because there are
I'm sorry, Emanuela, the microphone was off.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now, yes.
Should I start from start?
More or less, yes.
Okay. So what I was saying is that I believe the thesis has a very high scientific quality, is very well written, and the applicability of the methods that Olga developed for VOC monitoring it's very high. So I believe the method development that she did and also like the fabrication of the new samplers has done having a very practical approach in mind, and this is what we need, especially to for broaden use of this type of devices in many different cities. In fact, VOC analysis is often limited by samplers that are not reliable and reproducible and not applicable in any in all like urban or rural condition. And I think the new sampler that Olga developed and patented addresses some of these challenges. Excuse me. I also appreciate the mathematical modeling that that was done, especially because it's much more difficult to model solid sorbents, such in case of the ones that Olga modeled, compared to liquid coatings such as PDMS. So this adds additional value to the thesis. And I need to mention that part of the work has been done during lockdown, and I believe all of us running research labs appreciate how difficult research during those time is. So I think we need to congratulate Olga for the excellent job that she was able to achieve even during these difficult times.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Nakarato, please. The microphone doesn't work. We don't hear you.
Oh, let me check.
Yeah, now it works.
Is now working?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's better than before?
Yeah, yeah, much better.
Okay. So I basically agree with all the comments, all the thoughts of my colleague about the work of Olga, and also about the writing of the thesis. From a monitoring perspective, I can add some thoughts expressing once again the importance of these research fields. Because here in Europe, at least in Europe, there are quite a few of environmental programs devoted for this kind of analysis. Many also possibility to get found because the topic is very hot. Especially the monitoring with new strategies such as the use of passive samplers. We have been running many monitoring season, many monitoring periods around Europe and also worldwide. And I can definitely say that there is a general lack in spatial coverage with the monitoring. So it's quite easy to work in cities or work where you have a monitoring station or an observatory, but there are very, very few data in remote regions. And in difficult regions also given by the weather. So developing this kind of devices and this part of the research is definitely very, very important. It is getting a new importance, as Professor Augusto also said before. So congratulations and good luck for the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Dimersky, please.
Okay. Regarding the thesis, I think this thesis is very suitable, of course, to Kazakhstan. And if I talk the country from I am, the same like in the Poland. Other thing what I thought was not only as colleagues said, the applicability of this thesis is very high, of course. Even I was thinking that in our country, in Poland, like for 2 or 3 years, we have new type of the doctorate, which is kind of implementation type of the doctorate, which can be done with the cooperation with the government or some private even company. And it is not only about to publish scientific publications, it's about to do implementation in real life the results of the science. So I really appreciate the work of Ms. Olga for this, that the project have for me high applicability. This is the so we fulfill the next need of the environment. So this is the most important thing. The quality of the work is very good, and not always, not only I would say to even to judge the thesis, not only to award the title of the Doctor of Philosophy. I don't know if in your university maybe you have some award of the university to cover the people which very high quality of the defense and work. This is my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, colleagues, who else? Okay, Professor Pelit.
Again, this is really interesting study. When I first read, because I am working on the air pollutants analysis, I think that it's impossible to carry out such kind of experiment, because I have never think about such kind of thing, because there's the volume is so small, and as a result, the extraction, when we think about the extraction efficiency and so on, I'm only check the sensitivity or limit of detection for the instrument first, and then I saw that yes, it's possible, and then I'm so impressed about the study, and lots of other things have been carried out, especially in mathematical calculation and so on. This is very difficult to me, of course. And I'm again congratulations about the study, especially your supervisor and Olga. It's a very nice study. I will also carry out such kind of experiment in my laboratory, because we have a very big problem with especially in thermal desorption system. Of course, thermal desorption system is a standard method, and we should compare our results even in the passive sampling, not only active sampling. And also we should use more, you can carry out such kind of experiment in your laboratory, the parallel study also. And this is very important for the, how can I say, validation of your method. This is very important, and there are lots of things to carry out or standardization of your method. That is also this is the just beginning, I think, that your in your study. But again, I would like to thank such to learn, especially according to me, in our laboratory. This is a very nice study. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, who else wants to speak? Okay, if not, then I will give the word to Olga, yeah, the final word. Yeah, and then we will continue to the next step. Yes, Olga, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to gratitude I want to say thank you for all of the professors and doctorates who take part in my PhD defense. I'm really happy to hear them their opinion and the comments about my PhD thesis. It was very important for me because they are specialized in our field, and I'm really happy to hear valuable comments and good questions that were related to my PhD thesis. Also, I would like to thank my supervisors for help and giving different ideas and advice during my research work. Thank you for attention.
Okay, thank you very much. And okay, colleagues, so now we should move to the secret poll that will be conducted in Zoom right here. Yes, so all members of the council and official reviewers must vote. So we have 9 people, 9 people should vote. So for other participants, including the PhD candidate, the supervisor, and who else? Nobody else. So you should move to the waiting room. Yeah, and after we finalize the voting, the poll, we will connect you again. Okay, so I will move you to the waiting room, and then others will vote just for maybe 5 minutes. Okay, so we have 9 people, and then I should start the poll. It is ready, and you will see it on the screen. Just a second, I also need to connect from my second account because unfortunately the meeting organizer cannot vote. That's why I need to connect from my cell phone. Just a second, and then I will start the voting. Unfortunately, that's a limitation of Zoom, but
recording in progress.
okay, that's all for me. So okay, I start the vote. So you should see it on your screen, the selection. So this is secret, so nobody knows how you vote. So we need one more vote. So we have 8 votes. So somebody didn't vote.
Well, do I need to do it? I cannot see anything.
Do you see it in Zoom?
I cannot see it.
What to do?
But I already, told you at the reviewer form.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe you can restart your Zoom, and then you will see it.
I start my one. Okay, I just did to log out then. Yeah, I did it.
Okay, you did it. Okay, thank you. So now we'll make a copy and share the screen. Okay, so I finished. So probably I can invite the supervisor and the PhD candidate and then share the results. Okay, can you hear us? Yes. Okay, so now we finish the voting and now I can share the results. Do you see the results? Voting, so we have 9 votes for the awarding the degree and 0 votes for other. Yeah, so now I close. So now so are there any questions to the results of voting, to the process? Okay, if there are no questions, so now I can announce the results of the defense. So based on the defense and the results of the secret poll, our dissertation council makes a decision to award the PhD degree to Olga Pavlovna Ibragimova on the educational program 8D05301 chemistry. So my congratulations to Olga and her supervisors, the department and the university, and I want to thank all members of the dissertation council, official reviewers for very interesting discussion, for participation in the defense, because your opinion is very important for us, and I hope it will be helpful for the future development of Olga and her supervisors, yeah, of this topic, yeah, because this is very interesting direction of the research. And thank you very much again.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye. I have
Thank
to
you.
finish the
Thank you.
defense, and
Thank you.
thank
Bye.
you very much. Bye.
Congratulations, Olga. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Congratulations.
Bye.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thank you.
for you